Uttarkashi. The very name evokes a sense of profound spiritual serenity, a place where the earthly and the divine seem to meet, and breathtaking Himalayan beauty. It's a landscape that whispers ancient secrets and promises tranquility to those who seek it. Nestled deep within the majestic Garhwal Himalayas, this is the sacred source, the very origin of the Ganges, the river revered as a goddess. It's here, amidst these towering peaks, that the life-giving waters begin their long journey. A place of pilgrimage, drawing seekers from across the globe, and a haven of peace, where the soul can find solace in the embrace of nature. For generations, its resilient people have lived in harmony with the mountains, their lives interwoven with the rhythms of nature, respecting its power and cherishing its bounty. And the life-sustaining rivers that flow through their valleys, providing sustenance and shaping their culture. The Ganges is not just a river, it's the lifeblood of this community. But on August 5, 2025, a day that will forever be etched in the collective memory of Uttarkashi, that hard-earned peace was irrevocably shattered, the serenity replaced by chaos and fear. The earth roared with terrifying force. A violent tremor ripped through the valley, shaking everything to its core, a brutal reminder of nature's raw power, turning lives upside down in mere minutes, leaving behind a trail of destruction and despair. The very ground that once protected them, that they had relied upon for generations, now betrayed them, opening up in gaping fissures, leaving widespread devastation and an uncertain future in its wake. Sirens wail, cutting through the silence, rescue workers shout, their voices hoarse with urgency, and the air is thick with dust, the acrid smell of debris, and the heavy weight of grief. Homes, once filled with laughter and love, are now just piles of rubble. Familiar paths are now treacherous chasms, and the sacred river, once pristine, is now a raging torrent of mud, carrying debris and despair downstream. The resilient people of Uttarkashi stand amidst the ruins of their lives, their faces etched with shock and disbelief, looking to the mountains, once their protectors, their source of strength, now a stark reminder of the unpredictable power of nature, and the source of their deepest fears. This is their story, a testament to the human spirit, a story of loss, of survival against all odds, and the unwavering fight to rebuild their lives and their community from the ground up. It began on July 28, 2025, a seemingly ordinary day, unaware of the impending catastrophe that was about to unfold. The date would forever be etched in the memories of those who lived through it. The monsoon season was in full swing. The rain was relentless, a constant presence that both nourished the land and posed a lurking threat. Dark storm clouds gathered ominously over the Himalayan peaks, a visual warning of the power nature held. That morning in Uttarkashi, life was routine. A familiar rhythm played out in the quiet mountain town. Children, with backpacks slung over their shoulders, made their way to school, their laughter echoing through the streets. Shop owners unlocked their doors, preparing for the day's business, the scent of incense and freshly baked bread filling the air. Farmers were already hard at work in the terraced fields, tending to their crops under the watchful gaze of the mountains. Then, a low rumble, almost imperceptible at first, quickly grew into a deafening roar that echoed through the valley, a sound that would forever haunt the survivors. At 11:15 in the morning, the ground shook violently. The earth itself seemed to convulse in agony. A massive section of Varunavat Parvat, weakened by the relentless monsoon rains, gave way with terrifying force. A landslide, a monstrous wave of earth and stone, of rock and mud, a churning mass of geological debris thundered down the mountainside toward the unsuspecting town. The initial wave of the landslide, a devastating surge of raw power, obliterated everything in its path, leaving behind a trail of utter destruction. The force of the landslide dammed the Bhagirathi River, creating an unnatural barrier of earth and debris, which soon burst under the immense pressure, sending a torrent of water cascading downstream, unleashing a flash flood of unimaginable scale and ferocity. Water and sludge, a thick, churning mixture of mud, rocks, and debris, swept away bridges, severing vital connections and homes, tearing apart the very fabric of the community, carving a new path of destruction through the heart of Uttarkashi, forever altering the landscape. Panic reigned supreme. People ran for higher ground, desperately seeking safety from the relentless onslaught. As buildings collapsed around them and cries of terror filled the air, the true horror of the situation became devastatingly clear. Communication lines snapped like twigs, severing the town's connection to the outside world. Roads vanished under a suffocating blanket of debris, cutting off all access. For hours, Uttarkashi was completely cut off from the rest of the world, isolated and vulnerable, left to face the mountain's unbridled fury alone, a small town against the immense power of nature. In what felt like mere minutes, paradise became chaos, a tranquil valley transformed into a scene of unimaginable destruction and despair. The true scale of tragedy isn't found in numbers or charts, but in the deeply personal stories of loss and survival. It's in the whispered accounts of those who lived through the unimaginable, their voices trembling with the weight of what they've witnessed. These are the narratives that truly define the disaster. Kamala Devi, 65, stood helpless, watching the hillside dissolve before her very eyes. The earth itself seemed to betray her. In a matter of seconds, her sister's house vanished in a cloud of dust and debris, swallowed whole by the relentless earth. Now, she waits, her face etched with worry, desperately hoping for any news, any sign that her sister might have somehow survived. The uncertainty is a torment. The market, once a vibrant hub of activity, a place of laughter and trade, is now a desolate landscape of twisted metal and shattered rubble. It's a ghost of its former self. Ajay, a young shopkeeper, miraculously survived, spared by a twist of fate. He feels lucky to be alive, but the joy is muted. His shop, his livelihood, is gone. His neighbors, his friends are gone too, leaving a gaping hole in the community. Now, he's haunted by the crushing weight of survivor's guilt, wondering why he was spared when so many others perished. The question lingers in his eyes. In the sterile confines of a relief camp, children sit silent and withdrawn, their eyes wide with the unspeakable trauma they've endured. The innocence has been stolen from them. Priya, just 7 years old, was found alone and lost by the riverbank, desperately clutching a worn doll, her only companion in a world turned upside down. It's feared that her parents were likely swept away by the raging floodwaters, lost forever to the unforgiving current. Every single family in this devastated region has a story of loss, a narrative of heartbreak etched into their very being, a lost field, once a source of sustenance and livelihood, now barren and scarred, a missing child, a constant agonizing reminder of the lives that remain unaccounted for, a vanished home, reduced to nothing more than a pile of rubble, a stark testament to the destructive power of nature. The official numbers, the casualty reports, the statistics simply cannot capture the profound depth of sorrow that permeates this community. They are mere figures on a page. This is a community united in mourning, bound together by shared grief and a collective sense of loss. They are struggling to make sense of a world that was irrevocably broken overnight, a reality that defies comprehension. The human cost of this disaster is immeasurable, a burden that weighs heavily on the hearts of every survivor. It's a wound that will take generations to fully heal, a scar that will forever mark the landscape and the collective memory of this region. These stories are not just statistics or news headlines. They are the very heart and soul of Uttarkashi's tragedy, the essence of its suffering. Each voice that rises from the rubble echoes both the profound pain and the unwavering resilience of a people facing the unimaginable with courage and determination. And yet, even in the darkest corners, in the midst of the devastation, hope flickers like a fragile flame amid the ruins, refusing to be extinguished. The long and arduous fight to survive, to rebuild, to heal, continues. One story, one act of kindness, one brick at a time. The disaster scarred not just people, but the Himalayan ecosystem. Ancient forests of deodar and pine were erased in moments, their roots no longer anchoring the fragile slopes. The Bhagirathi River, once clear, now runs thick with silt and debris, its aquatic life devastated. Chemical contamination from destroyed homes threatens the water for miles downstream. Dust clouds have worsened air quality, and fertile fields are buried under sterile rock. The loss of forest cover makes future landslides more likely, especially as climate change brings erratic monsoons. The ecological balance is broken, a warning for the future. Uttarkashi's wounds are a stark reminder. Nature's limits cannot be ignored. Amidst chaos, stories of courage shine. Locals were the first responders, digging through rubble, forming human chains, sharing food and water. Their bravery saved lives before help arrived. Soon, the National Disaster Response Force and army teams joined, working tirelessly in perilous conditions. Helicopters became lifelines, airlifting the injured and dropping supplies to stranded communities. Medical camps and community kitchens sprang up, run by volunteers and local organizations. Doctors treated injuries with limited resources, officials coordinated relief despite personal loss. Every rescued life was a victory against despair. This disaster revealed the best of human nature: compassion, resilience, and unity. In Uttarkashi's darkest hour, heroes emerged everywhere. Why did this happen? The answer is layered. The Himalayas are young, fragile mountains. Landslides are natural here, but this was different. Relentless monsoon rains triggered the slide, but decades of unregulated development made things worse. Roads and buildings cut into hillsides, destabilizing slopes and disrupting water channels. Construction often ignored geological warnings, weakening the mountains meant to protect. Climate change has made monsoons more intense and unpredictable, increasing landslide risk. Glaciers are receding, rivers swelling. Uttarkashi is on the front line of a crisis it didn't create. This was not just a natural disaster, but a man-made one. It's a wake-up call. Our development choices have consequences. The mountains have a breaking point, and we've pushed them too far. The rescue phase is ending, but the struggle for relief and recovery is just beginning. Thousands are homeless, living in crowded camps as monsoon rains continue. Safe, weatherproof shelter is urgently needed to prevent further crisis. Medical aid and sanitation are critical. Disease threatens in the camps. Mental health support is vital, especially for traumatized children. Food, clean water, and warm clothing are in short supply. Blocked roads make aid delivery difficult. The need for help will last long after headlines fade. Hundreds remain missing. Families wait, desperate for news or closure. Specialized teams are needed to find and identify the lost. The cry from Uttarkashi is for shelter, health, sustenance, and answers. Compassion fatigue cannot be allowed to set in. The world must not look away. Uttarkashi's recovery will be long, but we can all help. Donate to credible relief organizations working on the ground. Governments must provide fair compensation and rethink development in fragile zones. Enforce stricter building codes and invest in early warning systems. The international community can offer expertise in disaster-resilient infrastructure and ecological restoration. Corporate funds can support rebuilding schools, health centers, and livelihoods. Keep Uttarkashi's story alive. Advocate for sustainable policies and responsible tourism. Healing requires not just aid, but sustained attention and collective commitment. As we leave Uttarkashi, the silence is heavy with memory and loss. Yet hope endures, in Kamala Devi's cooking, in Ajay's help, in a child's smile. The spirit of Uttarkashi is battered, but not broken. This disaster must change how we treat the Himalayas, not as resources, but as sacred trusts. The wisdom of mountain communities must guide future development. We must shift from extraction to conservation, putting people and nature first. Uttarkashi's tragedy is a call to action and empathy. The people need more than sympathy. They need solidarity and lasting support. Let us promise to rebuild lives and dreams, not just structures. The mountains are watching. Let our response honor their majesty. If you found this story meaningful, please subscribe to our channel for more such content. Thank you for your support.